Now, I am here to tell you, ESPN just rage baited the hell out of Indiana Fever fans, man. If you guys haven't heard, I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys have, that ESPN put their top 10 to 20 best WNBA players list out. Now, in this list, they made it be known that Caitlin Clark ain't even in the top 5. Ain't even in the top 5, dog. The level of disrespect is at an all-time high.
That's the face of someone who just read something genuinely offensive. And he's not alone. ESPN just dropped their top 20 WNBA players list for the 2025 season, and the backlash has been immediate and brutal. Caitlin Clark, the woman who finished 4th in MVP voting as a rookie, who set the single-season assist record, who helped negotiate a better CBA deal for every player in the league, sits at number 10, not top 5, number 10. But here's what makes this even more insulting. The player ESPN ranked at number 2 hasn't won an MVP, hasn't led the league in any major statistical category, and according to the actual MVP voting from last season, shouldn't even be in the conversation for second best player in the league.
Article. Shout out to WNBA Underdog. So WNBA Underdog releases this morning, right? They said top 10 WNBA players entering the 2026 season. Now, they have Angel Wilson at number 1, Alyssa Thomas at number 2. Hell, they ain't even got Kelsey Mitchell on this list, and she a Supermax player. They ain't even got Aaliyah Boston on this list, and she a Supermax player. Jackie Young, Breanna Stewart, Sabrina Ionescu, Alicia Gray, Paige Beckers, Kelsey Plum, Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark is the only Indiana Fever player.
Look at that list carefully. A'ja Wilson at number 1 makes sense. She won the MVP, but Alyssa Thomas at number 2? Above Breanna Stewart? Above Nafisa Collier? And then you've got Paige Buchers, who hasn't played a single WNBA game yet, ranked ahead of Kelsey Mitchell, who made first-team All-WNBA and finished 3rd in MVP voting. This isn't just questionable. It's statistically indefensible. Kelsey Mitchell averaged 19.2 points per game last season, shot 46% from the field, and was the second option on a team that made the playoffs. She's a Supermax player, and she's not even on ESPN's top 10 list. Meanwhile, Alyssa Thomas, who averaged 10.6 points, 8.4 rebounds, and 8.2 assists, gets the number 2 spot. Those are good numbers, sure. But second best player in the entire league? Based on what metric?
WNBA experts came up with this list. Apparently, Bonner was traded and didn't quit. Oh, my God. What they have to say about DeWanna Bonner? However, after a trade landed her in Phoenix, Bonner averaged 10 points, 4.3 rebounds. They basically said Indiana Fever, where she played just 9 games, Bonner was putting up career low numbers across the board. Exactly. Trash. Straight trash when she was in Indy. Which we could software delete her presence even coming to the damn team. ESPN was wrong again. What else is new? Unserious. Did players come up with these rankings or ESPN expert? CC number 10. Why is she number 2 in MVP odds? Where the fuck is Kelsey Mitchell? She's all WNBA first team. And I believe Kelsey Mitchell came in at I think third or second last year in the MVP race.
Here's where it gets really interesting. According to BetMGM's current MVP odds for the 2025 season, Caitlin Clark and A'ja Wilson are tied at plus 250, dead even. The betting markets, which aggregate thousands of informed opinions and millions of dollars, think these two players have equal chances of winning MVP this year, but ESPN's expert panel has Clark at number 10, 6 spots below Breanna Stewart, 7 spots below Sabrina Ionescu, 9 spots below Alyssa Thomas. So either ESPN's experts know something that professional odds makers, who literally stake money on being right, have completely missed, or this ranking was designed to do exactly what it's doing right now. Generate outrage, drive clicks, get people like him and frankly me to make videos dissecting how absurd it is, and you know what? It's working. Because we need to talk about what this ranking actually reveals about how the WNBA media establishment views Caitlin Clark.
So for Kelsey Mitchell not to be on there is crazy to me. ESPN released their WNBA rookie rankings. Now, this right here was Caitlin Clark when she was a rookie. Somebody said, seen this clickbait before. Exactly. Seen this clickbait before, bro. The level of disrespect. Kelsey Mitchell is better than CC. Why do y'all continue with the agenda? Kelsey Mitchell ain't better than Caitlin Clark. Kelsey Mitchell and Aaliyah Boston not being on the top 10 list is diabolical. Breonna Stewart and Jackie Young should be before Alyssa Thomas, and it's not even close. Aaliyah Boston should definitely be on this list. Now, these are the
Let's address the Kelsey Mitchell situation first, because it exposes the fundamental flaw in ESPN's methodology. Mitchell finished the 2024 season as a first-team All-WNBA selection. That's not a subjective honor. That's voted on by actual basketball professionals. She was one of the 5 best players in the league according to the people who cover and coach in the league. She also finished 3rd in MVP voting behind A'ja Wilson and Napheesa Collier. Caitlin Clark, despite being a rookie, finished 4th. So the actual award voting from last season had Mitchell at 3 and Clark at 4. Yet ESPN's rankings for 2025 have Clark at 10 and Mitchell completely off the list. The only way that makes sense is if ESPN's panel believes both players are about to have catastrophic regression. That Mitchell, entering her prime at 28 years old, is suddenly going to fall out of the top 20 entirely. And that Clark, who historically improves dramatically in her second year of any league, is going to somehow get worse. It's not just unlikely. It's basketball illiteracy.
damn show looking like y'all picked this damn list. Now, we know that they don't like Caitlin Clark. But I mean, for whatever reason, they thought this would be a great idea to print this out, put this on black and white is beyond me. Because it's almost like they knew this was going to pick up traction because everybody was going to make videos about it. Everybody was going to talk about it. And that's exactly what ultimately happened. Hell, I'm sitting here now making a video about it. But, I mean, my goodness, MVP is top 3, and she's not number 3. Then I want them to guard Caitlin Clark like she's number 10 if they don't prove to the world they're racist and trying to end her career.
Now let's talk about Aaliyah Boston, because her exclusion might be even more egregious than Mitchell's. Boston is sitting at number 14 on ESPN's list. 14th, this is a player who was the number 1 overall pick in 2023, won Rookie of the Year, made the All-Star team in both her seasons, and is arguably the best interior defender in the league under 25 years old. She averaged 13.8 points and 8.9 rebounds last season while anchoring the Fever's defense. She's a supermax player, just like Mitchell. The Indiana Fever committed maximum money to both of them because they're foundational pieces, yet ESPN has Boston at 14 and Mitchell off the list entirely, while ranking players like Kelsey Plum at number 9. Plum is talented, no question, but she averaged 17.8 points on a Las Vegas team that missed the playoffs. Boston averaged similar numbers on a team that made the playoffs and won a playoff game. The disrespect isn't subtle, it's blatant.
I'm not even going to lie to you. Alyssa Thomas, way too high. But yeah, y'all, this is crazy. Let me click on this article and see why. Let's see if they list an explanation as to why Caitlin Clark is number 10. So let's pull it up here. Number 10. Make sure you guys can see this here. Let me blow this all the way up. Let's read this real quick. Caitlin Clark received the 4th most MVP vote. So shouldn't that make her number 4 if the league think that she's 4th best, at least number 4? Like, received 4th most MVP votes as a rookie while settling a single season league record. Oh, yeah. That was from her rookie year. My bad, y'all. Record for assists and posting the second.
Here's what ESPN wrote to justify Clark at number 10. They acknowledged she received the 4th most MVP votes as a rookie. They acknowledged she set the single-season assist record. They acknowledged she posted the 2nd most three-pointers in a season in WNBA history. They acknowledged she was named Rookie of the Year and first-team All-WNBA. Then they ranked her 10th anyway, not 4th, where the actual MVP voting placed her. 10th, behind players who didn't accomplish any of those things. Behind Sabrina Ionescu, who had a down year by her standards. Behind Breonna Stewart, who's 29 and coming off a season where her scoring dropped. Behind Alyssa Thomas, who's never been in serious MVP contention. The justification ESPN provided essentially says, yes, she had one of the greatest rookie seasons in league history, but we're going to assume that was a fluke. That's not analysis. That's agenda-driven ranking designed to minimize her impact, because acknowledging it fully would contradict the narrative certain people want to maintain about who belongs at the top of the WNBA hierarchy.
most three-point field goals in season. She became one of the league's best passer and long-range shooters. The moment she stepped into a WNBA court, as was just getting started, she was named Rookie of the Year, first team all WNBA. Injuries limited her to only 13 games last year, but she's still named All-Star. Kelsey Mitchell ended right up under her, and they got a little video here to go with this BS. So I'm very interested to see, but tell that video, Lil, let's read what they put. Kelsey Mitchell. Hell, where's Aaliyah Boston? Where the hell did they put Aaliyah Boston? Aaliyah Boston ain't even top 20? Quit playing. Quit playing, bro. Aaliyah Boston, number fucking 14. The level of disrespect is at an all-time high, bro. All-time high, bro. Let's listen to this.
And then there's the Paige Bueckers situation, which might be the most revealing detail of all. Bueckers is ranked in the top 10. She hasn't played a single WNBA game. Not one. She's coming off multiple serious injuries in college. She's incredibly talented, and she'll probably be very good when she enters the league. But ranking her in the top 10 before she's played a professional game, while putting Kelsey Mitchell outside the top 20 after she made first-team All-WNBA, shows you exactly what's happening here. This isn't a ranking based on performance. It's a ranking based on who ESPN wants to promote. Bueckers fits a certain narrative. She's been hyped since high school. She plays for UConn, which has deep connections throughout women's basketball media. She's the kind of player the establishment wants to elevate. Mitchell doesn't fit that narrative. She wasn't a highly touted recruit. She went to Ohio State, not UConn or Stanford. She's been grinding in the league for 7 years without the media hype machine behind her. And now, after finally breaking through with a first-team All-WNBA season, she gets left off ESPN's top 20 entirely. That's not an oversight. That's a choice.
Billings down low. Hands off to Clark. Clark being guarded by Gardner. Puts the floater up and rattles it in.
I mean, absolutely beautiful navigation off the screen from a new addition.
That's an area where Breanna Stewart is looking to improve this season on her shot. Cunningham takes the three, knocks it down.
Destroyed them, bro.
Ready to knock it down.
Yes, she is a knockdown shooter. She is feisty over there, making the offensive foul. Clark takes the three and drills it.
Oh my, behind the back. And she is dynamic and facilitating.
She's very fast too, the quickness. Passes it out, finds Jones again. Jones gets it down low. Hahn.
Destroyed them, bro.
Down low, puts it up and in. The hoop and the harm.
She's happy to be back.
Yeah.
At home, because it is tough to play here.
Hahn trying to catch the ball to turn around. Oh my goodness, it's nice soft touch.
One tough for the Fever. They went up to New York and gave them another, I like to say, ass whooping. Guys, get down in the...
So here's what makes this significant. ESPN isn't some random blog. They're the primary broadcast partner for the WNBA. They have a direct financial stake in the league's success. When they publish rankings this disconnected from reality, it's not just bad analysis. It's actively damaging to the sport's credibility. Think about casual fans who don't follow the WNBA closely. They see ESPN's rankings and assume they're authoritative. They think, okay, Caitlin Clark must be the 10th best player, and Kelsey Mitchell must not be that good if she's not even top 20. Those fans are being misinformed by the league's own broadcast partner. That's a problem, and it feeds into the larger issue of how the WNBA media establishment has handled Clark's rise. From the moment she entered the league, there's been a coordinated effort to minimize her impact, to frame her success as a product of hype rather than skill, to credit everyone around her while downplaying her individual excellence. This ranking is just the latest example of that pattern. The betting markets have her tied for the MVP favorite. The actual MVP voting last season had her 4th, but ESPN's experts, who supposedly watch more basketball than anyone, have her 10th. At some point, you have to ask, are they watching the same sport the rest of us are watching, or are they watching through a lens that refuses to acknowledge what's happening right in front of them? Look, rankings are subjective. Reasonable people can disagree about whether Breanna Stewart or Nathalefa Collier is better, whether Sabrina Ionesco or Jackie Young deserves a higher spot. Those are legitimate debates based on different evaluations of similar production. But Caitlin Clark at 10, while players with objectively worse statistical seasons and fewer accolades sit ahead of her, isn't a subjective disagreement. It's a deliberate choice to ignore measurable performance in favor of maintaining a predetermined hierarchy. and Kelsey Mitchell being completely absent from the top 20, despite finishing third in MVP voting and making first-team All-WNBA, isn't an oversight. It's a statement about which players the establishment wants to promote and which players they want to keep in the background. This ranking also raises serious questions about ESPN's evaluation criteria. If you're not using MVP voting, All-WNBA selections, or statistical production as your primary metrics, what are you using? Eye test? Reputation? Media narratives? Because if it's any of those things, you're not ranking the best players. You're ranking the players you personally prefer or the players who fit your predetermined storylines. And here's the thing about beat reporters and media personalities who defend these rankings. They'll say, it's just one list. Why does it matter? But it matters because perception shapes reality in professional sports. When ESPN ranks a player 10th, that affects how casual fans view her. It affects her endorsement opportunities. It affects her legacy. And when they leave someone like Kelsey Mitchell off the list entirely, it affects whether she gets the recognition and opportunities she's earned through her actual on-court performance. The contrast between ESPN's rankings and the betting markets is particularly telling. Odds makers don't care about narratives. They care about probability. They set lines based on cold, hard analysis of who's most likely to win awards and lead their teams to success. And they have Caitlin Clark tied with Angel Reese as the MVP favorite. That's not hype. That's a professional assessment based on her rookie season performance and expected second-year improvement. So when ESPN's panel looks at the same information and concludes she's the 10th best player in the league, one of two things is happening. Either they're incompetent at evaluation, which seems unlikely given their positions, or they're deliberately ranking her lower than her performance warrants because acknowledging her true standing would undermine narratives they've invested in maintaining. Watch that initial reaction again. That's not manufactured outrage for content. That's genuine frustration from someone who follows the league closely and can't reconcile what he's seeing on the court with what ESPN is publishing. And he's not alone. Fever fans, Mitchell fans, Boston fans, they're all asking the same question. What do these players have to do to get the respect their performance has earned? The answer, apparently, is nothing. Because this isn't about performance. It's about control. It's about the media establishment maintaining the power to decide who gets elevated and who gets minimized, regardless of what happens in actual games. And as long as ESPN continues publishing rankings this disconnected from reality, that divide between the league's broadcast partner and a significant portion of its fan base is only going to widen. So the question becomes, was this ranking worth it? Was generating a few days of outrage clicks worth further eroding trust with the fastest-growing segment of the WNBA fan base? Because Fever fans, Mitchell fans, Boston fans, they're not going to forget this. They're going to remember that when their players had career years, made all WNBA teams, finished top 5 in MVP voting, ESPN's response was to rank them 10th, or leave them off the list entirely. That's not analysis. That's disrespect. And it's going to have consequences for how those fans engage with ESPN's WNBA coverage going forward. Drop a comment and let me know where you think Caitlin Clark actually ranks among WNBA players right now. Is she top 5? Top 3? Are the betting markets right that she's tied with Angel Reese for MVP favorite? Because I want to know if I'm crazy here, or if ESPN just published the most disconnected from reality rankings in recent sports media history.